Welcome to the Ref Show. It's a Ref Show with a difference to end the season, or at least end the Premier League and League season. Playoffs, of course, not included. We'll talk about those. We haven't got a single match official in the studio. Is that going to be an improvement? There's my answer before I even asked the question. David Hirst, resident guest, and called off the bench at very short notice. Gary Megson, good to see you.
And this will be the way forward, this. Football without referees. We're a lot more knowledgeable on the rules now.
It's a free-for-all in the studio, complete loss of control. Anything goes, over-the-top challenges, back-chatting, the lot. Two former teammates as well at one time, yeah.
Back in the 80s.
The good old days when we had air and...
Late 80s.
Hastily said, the late 1980s at Sheffield Wednesday, who are heavily involved in the playoffs, as is another of your former teams as well.
Of course, Barnsley.
Yeah.
Done well at the weekend.
And we'll talk about the playoffs. As you watch this is being recorded just ahead of the playoffs, so one or two of you might know the results, but we'll talk as if we don't, and we don't, because we don't know anything about football here. End of the Premier League season, there's no real controversy. Referees came through pretty well over the weekend, but then there wasn't an awful lot at stake in most of the games.
I think when you're refereeing the games on the beach, it should be quite an easy job, shouldn't it, really? I mean, I think most of the games, I think players were on holiday. I mean, a lot of goals scored in games that you wouldn't have expected it to be that way around the result. I mean, Newcastle beating Tottenham, for instance.
Now that, to me, is an indictment of Newcastle. I remember when Sheffield Wednesday exited the Premier League in 2000, I think they had a 4-0 home win to end the season.
Yeah.
People were happy, but I thought, hang on.
I think it just goes to show you the mental side of football. We were at West Brom, we got promoted with 4 games to go. We never took a point after we were promoted. Yeah. No. You just switch off, job's done. It's like creating a finishing line and then saying go again. And it's they don't do it. And Newcastle played probably how they've always been playing, which probably ain't good enough. But Tottenham,
on the beach
just sunk.
Yeah. I mean, which is crazy in Tottenham's point of view. I mean, to let Arsenal jump above them. Yeah. You know, that's sacrilege in London, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, the arch rivals to jump above them.
Yeah. In that game, there was the one red card. I looked at the Premier League stats over the weekend, and there were a ridiculously small number of yellow cards. Actually, of course, we've got to discount the Manchester United Bournemouth game, bizarrely abandoned, or it's been rescheduled because of the bomb situation there, or the non-bomb situation, as it turns out, a training exercise.
He got a yellow card, whoever left that in the toilet.
I would imagine
straight red, I would hope.
You'd hope a straight red.
We're down the job centre this week.
You'd hope a straight red. 9 games then we can talk about. There were only 20 yellow cards. That's an average of just over 2 a game, kind of summing up how little perhaps was at stake. But the one red card was in that Newcastle game. That was Mitrovic, who's become a serial offender there, Gary.
Yeah, I think it's just the way he plays, but like, you know, the challenge itself was shocking. It's worth more than 1 red card. It's like, you know, you just can't go about doing those type of things. You couldn't do it years and years ago, even though, you know, it happened, and at times you'd get away with it. But you know, in nowadays football, it was shocking.
You'd have thought you'd have learned by now. Anthony Taylor, by the way, the referee, one of our best.
Yeah. I mean, he gets it spot on, doesn't he? You know, like you say, he's running around doing crazy things like that, and referees have got to dish him out, unfortunately. I mean, I'd like you say there, 20 yellow cards. I mean, would we ever dream of a day when it's single figures over the weekend?
Over the weekend, I think Keith Hackett was here. He'd say that the optimum, that looking around 3 per match as a reasonable, respectable average. Actually, it's been over that. I think
is that not the wrong way to look at refereeing a game?
Well,
when you're basing it on three yellow cards per game.
Well, I don't think
that's asking the referee to get the card out.
They're not saying to referees 3 yellow cards or else. I think they're saying we prefer none at all. And I'll tell you what, there were 2 games over the weekend where there were no yellow cards at all. And I'll tell you, when I get my notes together in the second part of the show, I'll tell you which referees and which games they were.
It's like, you know, very rarely, I would imagine if you look back, as an end of season when everybody's finishing on the same day, been absolutely nothing on it. I know. Really. And so consequently, players are playing different. It becomes like, you know, 8 or 9 testimonials, and people don't get booked in them.
On the beach already, but we have a very big week in store, looking ahead to one of the great occasions of the season. Used to be the great occasion, but it's been sort of downgraded a little bit. I regret that. The FA Cup final. One of us has played an FA Cup final at Wembley. One of us here has played in one.
Must be you.
Was it you?
I wish.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm afraid that's me. Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
And like you say, one of the big occasions of the season. Certainly from my point of view, growing up as a kid, used to watch it all day. You know, sat there from breakfast with the players all the way through to the final whistle. I think the edge has been knocked off it a little bit, the way managers have picked teams to perform in the cup. But no, it's got to be a special day. You know, any player playing in a cup final, it's got to be a special day.
We're talking 93 in your case against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And not only did you play in an FA Cup final, goodness me, you only went and scored in it.
Exactly, schoolboy dreams. You know, to play in a cup final, score in a cup final. Unfortunately, didn't quite finish it off and win the cup final.
No, you didn't. They went to a replay against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Arsenal prevailed, as they did in the League Cup that year. Now, talking about that FA Cup final, Gary Megson, you'd long since left Sheffield Wednesday at that point, but you did take a special, you're a lifelong Owls fan, you did take a special interest in the game though, didn't you?
I did. It was one of the weirdest feelings I've ever had, because I was sat on a beach in the Cayman Islands with Norwich City, and from a football professional point of view, we needed Arsenal to win because it opened another European place which Norwich would get. Yeah. From a supporter's point of view, still following Wednesday, I'm sat there thinking, well, I've never wanted Wednesday to lose. Like, so anyway, once it did happen, you know, mayhem broke on a, I think it's called 7 Mile Beach in the Cayman Islands, and you know, all the Norwich players were going balmy because we qualified.
And you were with
Europe.
them going balmy, or you were kind of.
Well, I was in the shade because.
You were in the shade, yeah.
But no, it was a really surreal moment, because like, you know, Mike Walker was there, all the staff, the board was there, and we were celebrating Wednesday losing because it meant that Norwich had gone through to Europe, which never happened before. Yeah, it was crazy.
Good job you've left
sat on a beach in the Cayman Islands. Yeah, we got beat and ended up at Skegness.
You should have won.
If we'd have won, we might have ended up at the side of them on the beach.
Tell you what, Gary, it's a good job you've left a lapse of time before telling that story, but you've dared not tell that to Wednesdayites until now. Mark Clattenburg is the referee for the FA Cup final, and then the following week he's only got another minor game as well, the Champions League final between the two giants that are Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. What a season for! Now you talk about the build-up for a player to Wembley. What's it like, do you think, for a match official looking ahead?
I think it's very similar. I mean, I know they're professional now, and they go about it with the warm-ups and things, and you know, preparing for the game. I'm sure he plays the game before it kicks off in his mind, you know, as he's leading up to the kick-off. But no, they're very professional. Like I say, they'll be up and about early, getting himself together, get his food in, off to the game, have a look around, taking the surroundings, before he then strides out there to organise it. And
he will stride out. He's a confident individual, an individual of great personality and presence, Mark Clattenburg. You couldn't see him being a bag of nerves, Gary?
No, well, he's a good referee and he's an experienced referee. That's why he's got these games. So, but the scrutiny that they're under, you know, I'm sure that it's, you know, the nerves will be like, you know, the butterflies will be in the stomach. It's the same as when you're a player, but I think the scrutiny that referees are under is more so than the players.
You don't normally get massive disciplinary incidents in showpiece games like this.
No.
Showcase games, showpiece is sometimes the wrong word. But two fairly fiery individuals on the touchline. I know Van Harley's always very calm and collected and stern, but Alan Pardew there, the Crystal Palace manager, he can go off on one, Gary, can't he? As you could as well.
But we all can. But the thing is, like you just described the two managers there. This season I've seen Van Gaal, I don't know who it was with, throwing himself on the floor at Old Trafford. And on when they played West Ham a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago, he was in Bilic's face, you know, shouting over something. So it's entirely different. I once had Gus Hiddink once said to me, he says, "You're throwing chewing gum all over the floor and getting it on my shoes." I says, if I had your team, I wouldn't chew gum. I'd just sit there as well, like, because it's entirely different. But when it's incidents that happen in games that just throw managers, and it's like a frustration, and everybody loses it.
Yeah, they do. But usually less so at Wembley. It's as if they are more conscious. There's a few more eyes.
If Pardew's going to get into Van Gaal's face, he'll have to walk a long way, won't he? Because he don't get off the bench most of the games. Yeah, you know, he sits there with his folder. Yeah. I don't know what he's got on the folder. I don't know if it's the fish and chip order or whatever. But you know, it's the other coaches that get up out on the touchline.
I think he's studying your bar bill. actually.
To be fair, it'd need a bigger folder.
You're studying your bar bill and comparing it to the costing wages of his squad week by
I don't
week.
think I'd get anywhere near the costing wages, trust
I'm
me.
not so sure, I'm not so sure. David, thanks very much. That's only the first half completed. And Gary, thank you. And before we rejoin you, we've got a refereeing teaser to set you from the iconic You Are the Ref strip, which takes back so many years in newspapers, and Keith Hackett setting the questions, and of course the incomparable Paul Trevelyan with the illustrations. See if you can answer this one. We'll see you for part 2. A winger trips and falls over the touchline. As he climbs to his feet, still off the pitch in an offside position, the ball is punted upfield towards him. So he lingers just long enough to be onside when he re-enters play, then races and scores. Goal or no goal?